To know wisdom and instruction concerning women. The Maxims of Methuselah Part 2. Chapter 6. Do not be surprised by a woman's inconsistency, as she is made up of conflicting elements. She may be the weaker vessel, but the strong man cannot enjoy her unless she willingly consents. She will reject what she loves, seemingly contradicting her feelings at times. She is afraid of mice when they appear, yet she handles challenging situations with joy. She often asks for the impossible from men but refuses to consider their perspective unless it aligns with her own. Her ways can be deceptive and tricky, but if she chooses to be straightforward, she may be criticized for being obstinate. When she flatters a fool, people accuse her of hypocrisy. Yet, if she calls men, asking them to come over, they become angry and contrary. Her only victory lies in her defeat by her beloved. She bears agony in silence, concealing her pain with a smile. However, if a man suffers, the whole city will know about it. There are things no woman will ever know, and they shall remain hidden from her. Men won't disclose how they have acted in private theatricals, and women will speak sweet words without meaning. If a maiden loves you, she will see you as handsome and admire your features, even if you don't fit conventional beauty standards. She will be approachable and accept your invitations, always making time for you. She will seek your opinion on her new clothes and respect your judgment. She will inquire about your family, asking about your mother and sister, and may request a photograph from your childhood. She will take an interest in your interests, reading the books you read and understanding your tastes. She will remember the details of your preferences, like the sugar in your tea and the foods you dislike. She will pick threads from your garment and brush your hair. She remembers when she first met you and knows when you last called. She laughs at your jokes and knows your neckties. She pays attention to your opinions and shares them with her friends. She gives you foolish gifts, and she knows if you use them or not. She reads your letters, even when they seem cold, and recognizes your footsteps outside the door. Listen carefully to my words and heed my advice, for the world is full of women, and they are full of cunning. A man who does not approach them cautiously may fall victim to their tricks. In the attempt to misunderstand women, we often find moments of joy. Be cautious and know that a fond woman's commands are meant to be broken, and only a fool follows them blindly. When she smiles, it may not be only for you, but when she frowns, it is likely directed at you alone. If she talks much about another, take comfort in the absence of rivalry. However, if she remains silent about him, watch her actions closely, as danger might be lurking. If she weeps, join her in tears, and her grief will be eased. Many women claim to be universal confidantes, hearing men's love stories, but they don't confide in others. If a girl presses you for a secret, lie immediately. Even if there's nothing to hide, invent an appealing tale, as words will satisfy her. However, if she stops asking and respects your privacy, you may tell her the truth. My son, be cautious of a plain maiden who charms you, for she requires much cunning and uses various tactics. She doesn't expect to win easily and ensures her aim. She plays the sympathetic role, trying to please and doing many favors. On the other hand, the fair maiden is simple in heart, thinking highly of herself. She gives little but receives much and basks in her own beauty, tiring out men. Does a woman strive for the impossible? No, she doesn't understand the gain in that, and she scoffs at the man who desires something extraordinary. Many men have given up a good salary for a chance at fortune, but a woman prefers the certainty of what she already has. When you make a statement about women, she will immediately try to disprove it. She goes against the flow. When a woman's heart is broken, or when her love faces disaster, she retreats to the house of memory, shutting the door behind her. But if a man loses hope, he also shuts the door but eventually moves on. For all women are like Lot's wife, looking backward, holding on to the past. Chapter 7. My son, pay attention to my wisdom and learn my ways, and maidens will be drawn to you. In Ethiopia, garlands will be hung in your honor, and the damsels of Assyria will call you a dear. I have won many a maid through a quarrel when flattery was of no use, but be careful that you are in the right before you acknowledge your mistake. Women will admire your integrity. However, do not repeat the same manner of flirtation with different women, for news of it will spread, and women will mock you. Even debutantes will criticize your approach. A poem will appeal to the foolish, and a riddle will intrigue the wise. A kiss is appreciated by the chaste, and a handclasp is enough for the unchaste. A man is like a fort in a foreign land, easy to conquer but hard to keep. However, a woman of virtue is like an eel in a bathtub, difficult to acquire, yet challenging to lose. Remember to avoid competition, for if she loves another more than you, no effort on your part will prevail. If she doesn't love you at first, she never will. When you embrace her, make her feel like no other women exist. Don't mention other women, ignore them completely. Observe women and their ways, and don't be fooled by false rumors. A woman may use a lorgnon without being nearsighted, and not every woman with her waist buttoned up behind is a maid. A woman lives in a romantic future, envisioning things that may never come to pass, while a man tends to focus on the present. Her heart gives consent before her lips even speak the words, yes, and she wishes to prolong this moment of anticipation. She communicates with brevity, sending telegrams of 10 words. She cannot be persuaded to say more or less, regardless of the urgency. She may say, I washed my hair, but it won't cooperate. Or complain about missed opportunities for good dinners or well-prepared homes. She may claim to value honesty in a relationship, urging her partner to tell her if he stops loving her, yet she may not be easily convinced to let go. In the company of others, she expects her child to behave properly, but when alone, he becomes more talkative. She observes and criticizes her sister's attire, noticing every detail of their clothing and accessories. She believes that once a woman has kissed someone and stopped, she becomes virtuous and unattainable, unlike any other. Chapter 8. Tell me, you naive ones, how long will you cling to the idea of platonic friendships? The skeptics will revel in your misfortune, whispering gossip behind your back. I, too, will mock your distress and laugh when passion strikes. When tears flow, I'll say, ha ha. I'll rejoice with great mirth. Then, when you seek my help, I will not answer. You'll ask for advice, but I'll withhold it. There is no escape. You rejected my counsel, despised my warnings, and now you're entangled in your own foolish ways, suffering the consequences, uttering foolish lies without explanation. But whoever listens to me shall dwell safely and be free from trouble. Women shall find him interesting and desire his company. He'll be invited to social events and enjoy free dinners. Matrons will greet him with smiles. The wise shall live in Upper Fifth Avenue, but fools shall dwell in the West Side. They'll take up residence on East 18th Street and make their calls in Harlem. Of women who cannot bear reproach, I've known over 100, but not one who could gracefully accept praise. Can a woman juggle both a man and a pet at the same time? One of them shall suffer jealousy. As the salt cellar with a loose lid in the soup, so is the matron who excessively praises her children. Beware of proposing to the wrong damsel, I'll show you the revealing signs. Avoid those who push ahead in lines, fail to shut car doors, or linger too long in dressing rooms. Stay away from those who can't say goodbye on the phone or those who take scarf pins with no intention of returning them. Chapter 9. A black corset is considered unacceptable, and she who leaves her hair in the comb shall be shunned by society. Do not assume a matron is happy until she reaches 30 and maintains her figure. Her sisters may criticize her clothing choices, advising her on what suits her body shape best. A woman with a perfect figure might face envy and suspicion from other women. Even a good complexion is sometimes met with doubt. To a woman, having children is seen as a shortcut to wisdom and superiority over others. Waste no time trying to deceive a woman. She is often skilled at fooling herself. When considering a woman for marriage, observe her family bathroom and its condition. It can tell you a lot about her habits and cleanliness. Avoid disclosing intimate details to others, for secrets tend to spread like gossip. Be mindful of the couch cushion. It has witnessed many curious things but remains silent and discreet. A woman and a mouse are similar in their ability to carry tales everywhere they go. Once, in my youth, I kissed a maiden from Assyria. She asked me if I kissed every woman I desired, and I answered boldly, confessing my fondness for every woman's lips. So she laughed and was comforted, not believing me, nor desiring to believe me. She made merry at my jest and was content in her pride. Offer to every woman an excuse in season, that she may clothe her embarrassment. Let her not suffer for her complacence. Chapter 10. Unto a woman, her conscience is a slave, she forceth it to do her will. With what pride she vaunteth her virtue. Saying, Lo, I know I ought not to tell this thing, nor should I divulge it at all, but thou understandest. Her friend cometh with tidings, and she receiveth her with joy, saying, Thou knowest that I believe not in gossip, nor do I talk mischievously of my neighbor, tell me therefore the news, and I will not believe it. She saith, Yea, I know well that I tell not always the truth, and in her heart, she thinketh, Surely my frankness condoneth my fault. I have heard engaged maidens when they said concerning their past lovers, Yea, I thought that I loved him, but I was mistaken. And many a damsel hath besought her sister to marry a man whom she would in no wise be persuaded to marry herself. Son, there are subjective kisses and kisses objective. There are kisses seen and disgusting, and kisses felt and rapturous, but the glory of the subjective is one's, and the shame of the objective is another's. It is not by men that women are betrayed, but rather by women. Lo, I observed a prude amongst sports, and the prude was a sport also, even as the others, fearing to be different from the rest. And also, I observed a sport amongst prudes, her conduct was seemly altogether. Does a woman smoke her first cigarette because a man asks her to? No, but because other women at the table smoke. Even at the dove lunch, she takes the first step. Yet the straightforward woman is the one who is the frankest, she speaks her mind. Does a woman speak platitudes in hot air? Behold, she is innocent. Every man judges a woman based on his own experiences. If she rejects him, he says, Lo, she is unattainable, but if she agrees, he simplifies it as, Behold, she does the same with every man. I tell you, a woman does not measure a man's love by kisses and sweet words alone, but by every action he takes. She is sensitive to his advances. If he touches her glove, she thinks, Lo, this is a sign of progress in his love. He examines her rings, and she wonders if he is enamored. He who you love must laugh when you laugh and cry when you cry. For if she laughs when you cry or cries when you laugh, it is a cause for concern. My son, if you want to flatter women, I advise you to avoid vague compliments. Don't say, You are beautiful, my love, you make my heart rejoice with your attractiveness. Instead, be specific in your praises, go into details, for this will bring her joy. Say to her, Love, your nostrils are proud, they show your uniqueness, and your ear is like a seashell. Your fingers' tips are cunning, and the line of your eyebrows is unmatched. See, she knows her positive and negative attributes, she knows them all, from the biggest to the smallest. Her mirror guides her, and she understands her appearance. She is also aware of the strengths of her rivals, and if she has thick wrists, she will take notice of every other woman's wrist. She wears a size 3 shoe, for it is comfortable for her. Yet when you ask, she will say, No, my size is 2.5. Do you know a woman who doesn't criticize other women's attire? I tell you, there is not a single one who cannot point out their flaws and offer them advice on what they should wear. Even if she dresses like an art student, she considers herself an authority on fashion. Many women may seem like they are trying to convince you, but in reality, they are only trying to convince themselves. What is quicker than a woman's mind? She swiftly jumps to conclusions, and she might not answer the exact question you ask, but rather what she thinks you mean. She won't be easily pinned down. Like a fly entangled in sticky paper, a woman who tries to justify her actions finds herself in a difficult situation. If you speak the whole truth to her, she may say, Ha ha, you are deceiving me. You haven't told me the whole story. Let me add to it. Son, be cautious and refrain from saying to a woman whom you do not know well, Lo and beware, your sidecombs are falling, and a hairpin is escaping from your tresses. Such remarks may invite her anger, and she will look upon you with fury. She has the ability to turn a compliment into an insult in the blink of an eye. When you praise her, she might misconstrue your words and take offense. Chapter 11. Listen, my son, do not be fooled by superficial appearances. Do you know a maiden who shares all her letters with her mother? Befriend her, and she will soon express her deep emotions to you. Just as the blower on the fireplace hides the flames, she will reveal her true feelings when her parents' watchful eyes are not around. If you heed my advice and keep my guidance close to your heart, all women will be as one woman to you, and understanding them will come easily. Find one woman whom you can trust, and to her who loves you most, confide your innermost secrets. She will protect you from deceitful women and expose their tricks. And when someone flatters you, she will reveal their true intentions. When you find a woman you can trust, go but always return to her. Smile at her from across the room when you are surrounded by others. When women admire you, seek her out with your eyes. Make a subtle sign to her across the dining table. She will understand its meaning. Before you dress in fine clothes and groom yourself, seek her advice. And when you leave for a social gathering, return to her soon after and share your experiences. She will interpret your dreams and understand your moods. The woman who truly loves you is wise and knows your ways. Put your trust in her, and she will guide you in understanding women. It is better to believe and be deceived 70 times 7 than to think all women are false. Yes, it is more fulfilling. If you suspect her, it is better to leave her than to live in doubt. But to believe and doubt at the same time is a bitter torment. In my youth, I knew a maiden from the land of Nod, and I loved her. My friends came to me and said, "Look, she is a devil, cast her off." But I replied, "Indeed, I know well that she is either an angel or a devil, for in no other way could she charm me. Yet I would think her an angel while I may, for I cannot leave her." The fool says in his heart, "All women are liars," but I say to you, truly, 2 good women friends are worth more than 1,000,000 saints. Now I entered the chamber of a maiden, and there were many photographs displayed on the writing desk, mantle, and mirror. However, I did not discover my own photo. And I rejoiced, saying, "Lo, I am at the head of the procession." But on another occasion, I sneaked into the chamber of yet another damsel. And behold, my photograph was displayed in a frame of fine gold. I cried aloud in shame and became hot with embarrassment, saying, "Alas, I have become a gooseberry, for she uses me to her own end. I am like the geography of a schoolboy, behind which he reads the story of Bloody Mike the Avenger. She flaunts my name, fooling her friends. Listen now to my words, and pay heed to my instruction, so that you may not be deceived by the woman who seeks to ensnare you. For her ways are plain to me, and through many defeats, I have gained victory over her. In my youth, I had experiences with the women of Mesopotamia, Ethiopia, Assyria, Havilah, and the lands by the Euphrates. They taught me their secrets, and I recorded their sayings on my tablets. My son, keep my words and treasure my commandments, for they will protect you from the woman who flatters you with honeyed words. Beware, for this is her cunning, and through these crafts, she seeks to bind you to her side forever. Even if she is innocent of guile, she has her system that will not fail. From my window, I have observed her, and I have witnessed her ways, how she ensnares the simple ones. From her first move to the end of the game, I have watched her closely. This is how she does it. She establishes a personal connection. She makes him notice her among others. She asks him to carry her coat. She places her purse in his pocket, and he becomes entangled in her service. She establishes proximity, and she makes use of propinquity. She entreats him to tie her shoe. She decorates his buttonhole, and her breath is in his face. She awakens his protective instincts. She shows her vulnerabilities so that he might comfort her. Like a barking dog and a horned cow, they have provoked a reaction. Chapter 12. And, he is strong, and he stills her fears. She takes his arm. She achieves a private conversation and confides in him. She pours out her heart, saying, "I know not why I tell you this, for I have never told it before. But surely, you understand me, and I can trust you always." Behold, he has called for the 3rd time, and she says, "Lo, I have missed you, and all day yesterday, you were in my mind, for I had various things to say to you. When will I see you again? She establishes a secret union between them, and in the company of strangers, she says secret words to him. She refers to untellable things and builds up a past to use it. She gives him a pet name. She signs her letters, the princess in the magic tower. She desires to be treated as a man. She yearns for the simple relation of a comrade, saying, "Lo, how I trust you, for you have not regarded me merely as a woman, you have not made up to me." Yet, she displays her feminine and helpless side, confessing her weakness and extolling his strength, all while secretly laughing in her sleeve. She shows an interest in all things that concern him. She inquires about his doings at the office and shows concern for his comings and goings. She reads the books he reads and consults the newspapers so that she may discuss them with him. She gets him into the kitchen. He opens beer and sardines in the evening, and she binds an apron around him while she sits upon the washtubs. She playfully swings her silk stockings on the table. She stands beside him when he opens cases, hands him the hammer and nails when he puts up her shelf, and smiles upon him. She asks for his photograph, and she steals the photograph of him as a baby, showing envy for it. She admires his shoulders and says, "Lo, what a stunning profile you have. Your mouth is firm. Behold, you are distinguished." She inquires about his mother and his Aunt Jane, his little nephew, and all that are within his gates. She attempts his reform and shows an interest in his health, saying, "Lo, I know well that it harms you to inhale cigarettes. Why will you not regard your health? For my sake, be careful, for if anything afflicted you, then would my heart be bowed down. Yet, it is not meet that I should stand between you and your pleasures, for I know not the ways of men, nor of their needs. Far be it from me to restrict you in your enjoyment. Yet, I beseech you to wear rubbers and warm underwear, you must not neglect. For you must preserve your strength and beauty." Now she sees his bachelor apartments where he takes his ease, and she marvels at man's liberty and freedom until she says, "Lo, would that I were a man also, and not a woman, for your freedom makes me envy you. Yet, who does your mending? And your clean linen, who is there that lays it out? Who cleans up your room? Who attends to you when you are sick? Who holds your hand and smooths your pillow? For it makes me fear for you." She asks him to promise her that when he is stricken, he will send for her and her sister so they may visit him and do what shall be necessary for his comfort, and they shall come gladly. And in her own house, she shows him the contrast. She makes him feel at ease in mind and in body. She waits upon him with smiles, adjusts the sofa pillow, places his smoking materials at his hand, and screens the light with a red shade. She gives deft touches to make him feel comfortable. And she says, "Lo, how lovely to be a man. Would that I were free also, that I might come and go unquestioned. I abhor the feminine touch, and man's simple taste, lo, I admire it. Yes, put your feet upon the couch and be comfortable. Strew your ashes wherever you will, for it will keep the moths from the rug." And the fool thinks in his heart, "Would to God I had this comfort always and my belongings ever ready at my hand. Verily it would be pleasant to be married, and a wife is a desirable thing." She defers to his taste. Yes, she makes him go with her when she selects her hat, and that which she wishes she forces him to choose for her. She heeds his words of praise concerning her attire, and the gown he does not approve she will not wear before him. She flatters his neckties, she calls his cufflinks good. She provokes a quarrel. Yes, out of thin air she creates strife and disputes with him. And when he is heated, then she humbles herself, saying, "Lo, thou art right. Let me grovel before thee. Accept my apology, O Lord, for I am as nothing in thy sight." She commits an indiscretion to bind them together secretly. She relies on his honor and feels vulnerable. She provokes a struggle, and he snatches at her fiercely. And she says, "Lo, I thought that thou wert a gentleman. How darest thou impute such things to me? What have I done to deserve this?" She accepts his apology. She takes an interest in the women he has known. She praises them highly, extolling his discernment. She shows magnanimity and forgives him for everything. But when she is sure of him, she pretends to be jealous, accusing him unjustly and mocking his friends. Now she invites him to her place for their final encounter. Her plan is in place, and the end is near. She springs her last trick upon him, saying, "Verily, verily, my heart is troubled, and I need your advice, you are my only friend. I am invited to visit my uncle in California for 6 months, and I know not whether to go or not.